Here we go. Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, not because they pay me to, but because I like to help people. I want to answer your traffic and police questions. I'm doing this even though I am no longer a police officer. Wild, right? If you are new to the channel, and I hope you are, because I always like to grow the channel, follow me. Just hit the button. Follow me, because then you'll know when we go live again. And there's lots of content that I post, and more is coming out every day. But I go live on a regular basis. Not as regular as I used to. I used to do this Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 when I was a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. And I've left that because I need to have some more flexibility with my schedule and take care of family stuff. However, this is really important, and I want to get back to a regular routine. I went live, I think, Monday at 9 a.m., then nothing yesterday. Today's at 10, and at 10:35, we're joined by Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010. He's going to pop in for some Q&A with his audience on the radio, which is absolutely awesome. I love joining Jerry. He's a great guy, and it's always interesting to have live guests, like Q&A guests. I guess I'm his live guest. But if you're watching and you've got a question, drop it in the box. Now, let's put this on the screen. An hour. Now, of course, we're going to see that countdown. And when it gets to 0, I'm going to try and say goodbye. Always a problem because I actually like chatting with y'all. Now, what do I want to do here? We got to go and see who's saying hello, and then make sure we got Brandon jumping in on Instagram. Oh, yeah, we're multicasting. We're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on YouTube. And we are on TikTok. Where we're not today for some reason is on LinkedIn. For whatever reason, I scheduled it, then I tried to unschedule it, then it doesn't want to listen to me anymore, so no LinkedIn today. Hopefully not. Kayla wants to know if I saw the jokes. I did not, unless you emailed me them. Just put a.k.a. on the screen for a second. a.k.a. Draconis, who I didn't even see greetings and salutations, but I know you send them regardless of whether or not I see them. But no, didn't see the jokes yet. If you got dad jokes, feel free to hashtag dad jokes in the comments. And when they come in, I'll flag them. We'll read them at the end of the show. Should probably change the timer from an hour. No, maybe leave it at an hour and then read dad jokes. Maybe. I need a dad jokes banner to come up. We got Randy McNaught who says, good Wednesday morning, Sean. Stay inside and away from any snow arriving today. But I got stuff to do. I've got to go. I'm going to the eye doctor. That's where I'm going. I'm going to the eye doctor. I haven't had a checkup this year at all. I think it's every other year that I get them. But I'm going to go check it out and see if I can still see as well as I used to. Hopefully, if you don't take care of your eyes, bad things happen. This is a great time to segue into vision is kind of important to driving. So get your eyes checked on a regular basis, whatever you can. And if you have kids, they get covered for free. Make sure the things get caught early. If you don't look, you don't find out, and then bad things happen. My dad just had a little laser surgery where they drilled a hole with a laser to relieve pressure because, you want to prevent a glaucoma, and something about right angles or angles. Anyway, there's that. And if you don't check, you don't know. And many people just ignore it until they lose that wonderful thing or have their vision impaired tremendously and then lose the ability to drive. You don't want that. So enough on that. Get your eyes checked. Happy Healthy Eye Day. Is there an eye day? There must be a calendar entry for an eye day. Happy Hump Day from Julie. Thank you. And there's the dad jokes coming in from a.k.a. I flagged them for later. Thank you very much. Let's see who's in here. MMC Lawn Care joined. And then we've got Brandon's message of good morning, Sean and all. Let's have a safe, fun day. Thank you very much. And, of course, sharing it with everybody. Barnwads joined. And Andrew, the Eternal Warrior, joined. Thin White Line Interceptor joined. And waved hello. That's Ryan, who is a wonderful guy who runs around with a camera to many events, takes fantastic pictures of law enforcement and emergency services stuff. But he has an other life outside of that as well. Oddly enough, is it working or not working? Why don't I see? There we go. Wow, I wasn't notified of the live on TikTok. Interesting. Why is it not working? Oh, you know why it's not working? We're not on TikTok. Hang on a second. I got to flip the switch. Yeah, I messed up. So I entered all the data for the switch. Here we go. Counting down. Is the stream streaming? The stream is streaming. We're now on TikTok. That's a Bummer. So I hit everything go, and then I did not hit go on the little toggle switch. I'm used to it automatically going into on, but apparently new features on Restream make it so it's not on until I turn it on. So 6 minutes of silence on TikTok after I entered the information. Anyway, people will be coming in there soon. It's never a dull moment in the streaming biz. But here we are. We're now streaming, and that is wonderful. Okay, let me see if I can get that. There we are. Now we're actually there. I see the live stream. It's working. Good morning to TikTok, who joins us a little late because I had some technical user difficulties where I screwed up. Anyway, let's see what else we can flag here. If you got questions, I got answers. Usually, there's some stuff I don't know, but I try and get you the answers to everything. I've got a lot of people who go to traffichop.ca and they link to me, or they send me messages of things that are too complicated to talk about online. Sometimes they need pictures, so they email me at voiceovercop@gmail. But at the end of the day, whichever way you need to reach out, feel free to. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Snow. Where did it all go? It got a little warmer, and as a result, there's nothing on the ground. A lot of people who are disappointed. They're hoping that this does not last because they would very much like a white Christmas, and I love to see the snowy white Christmas. That's my favorite time of year. This is where people treat each other nice. It's fantastic. So if you are looking forward to a really snowy white Christmas, let me know. Now, somebody mentioned earlier, was it Brandon or was it Randy? Let me see here. Let me go back. I think it was Randy who said, stay away from the snow arriving today. So that's actually good news for me. I like the snow. I have no problem with it. I don't like rain so much. I know you can put it up an umbrella, but snow is peaceful. Rain is blech, in my opinion. Do you prefer snow or rain? Let me know. Questions? I have so many questions. All right. Regardless, by the way, which channel you're watching on, please like, follow, subscribe, share, because that helps tell other people to watch. And if you're a regular follower, listener, subscriber, viewer, say, hey, let me know where you're coming in from, because it's always interesting to see. We've had people from all over the world join the live stream, so it's always interesting to see who gets the furthest. We've got, Ryan says, good day, sir. I hope all is well. All is well. Today, as I mentioned, I'm going to the eye doctor, so I'm looking for. I'm not changing the glasses. I'm really into these glasses. I like them. In fact, I bought a spare pair just because I like them so much. And if anything should happen to these, I want to have an alternate, like a backup that doesn't change my look, because I like them. And obviously, if I like it, they're going to discontinue it, and that would be that'd be terrible. We've got Ethan and Kurt. How's it going, Captain Kirk? He loves a white Christmas. Yeah, who doesn't? And it doesn't matter whether you celebrate Christmas. It's just a nice time of year. Christmas lights and all that. Oh, Chase is in the house. Chase, who is Two Dogs Chase, not the motorcycle Chase, and I now have to designate or differentiate the difference between the two because they have a thing. But he says, good morrow. And yes, Chase, the glasses are on the VoiceOver Cop coin, and it can't be changed. So if you've seen the challenge coin that I created for VoiceOver Cop, you'll notice that there is an homage. It's actually, I created the graphic by tracing the vector, or creating a vector tracing the actual glasses I wear. Anyway, enough geeking out about challenge coins. That's a thing. The link is not working I'm not getting questions in from TikTok. Let's see why. Let's see if I can fix that. We got Michael, who says he's dreaming of a white Christmas. Calvin likes the glasses. Thank you. Apasan says hi. Why aren't things coming in? Stand by. I'm going to try and do the... Calvin is on break from Police Foundations, and here you are. See, it worked out exactly. So does that make 10 o'clock the best time? It's always interesting as I try and figure out which is the best time for taking care of live streams. When should we go live? And it's been all sorts of discussion on the topic, which is better. Okay, hang on a sec. We're going to do a reboot of the chat system. See if this brings it back to life. Because right now I'm seeing questions from YouTube only. If you're on x.com, please let me know, and then I will know let me know by way of asking me a question on there. All right. Let's see what now I can scroll back. Angie Sandow says, "Good morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. We are going to be together at the motorcycle show, which there we go. It's now working." Eric posted from TikTok, and I saw it from TikTok. It is now working again. Thank you for testing it for me. All right, we got Cody who wants to know if you're paid to do this by OPD, OPD, OPP, OP who. I'm not paid to do this at all. This is me doing this on my own because I enjoy doing it. I used to do it professionally or a full-time as a police officer. I've retired from policing, and now I'm doing some consulting and some other things, but ultimately this is something I'm doing because I enjoy it, and I want to help out because people need to have a place where they can go and get answers to questions that may not be so easy to understand. So anyone who's just tuning in, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who is a traffic geek, self-proclaimed. No one has to call me names. I call myself a geek. I'm interested in this stuff. I read the laws. I stay up to date on it, even though I'm retired. And I think this is a really important service to the community so that you get answers to your questions. Do I have a vested interest in telling you one way or the other? I just want you to know what what's actually on the paper. I want you to know how the police treat it, and I want you to make good decisions based on good information. If you choose to drive in accordance with the law after, then that's a big win. We're making the roads safer. If you choose to still break the law afterwards, knowing the consequences, then it's on you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Let's see here. We got Angie who says, "Love snow as long as I'm not driving. Freezing rain is the worst. Not a fan of sliding all over the road. So freezing rain, I'm with you on that one." We got, okay, we talked about that. Oddly enough, Michael likes rain walks or drives, but not when the rain freezes because he hates ice. I'm with you there. I am not a fan of slippery conditions. And I find that snow really isn't. It can be really sticky, actually. Eric says, TikTok is going downhill. I don't know. Why do you think it's going downhill? I think TikTok's still the best place ever. We got a Christmas joke from Bernhard. Yeah, here's the dad Christmas joke. I flagged that for later. And Calvin Warren says, "You're doing a good thing. I enjoyed the guest speakers, etc." And today's great because if you tune in or if you stay online until we're met by our friends from News Talk 1010, then you will be hearing from Jerry Agar. Let me see if I got the graphic set up for that. I'm going to scroll over here. I think I have a Jerry Agar graphic now. I have a a.k.a. graphic for sure. Where's Jerry? Maybe I edited it. We may not have Jerry on screen, but I do have a picture of Jerry that I can put on screen. I just don't have it set up, and I'm not going to mess around with it more than I need to right now. Back to you guys. Yeah, things are weird. So just to let you know how things work with the current setup. TikTok is posts on TikTok or comments on TikTok are getting filtered in through Restream. So we have a multitude of platforms that usually work really nicely and occasionally don't. So if it's not working, it should get better real soon. A bunch of people just jumped in. We got Mama who joined in, Destiny who joined in, Joey who joined in, Vinny, Jess. Who else we got? Manuel. What is Manuel? Another one joined. Okay, lots of folks are popping in. It's good to see you all. Hopefully you're all followers who stick with us and share the live and let people know about the stuff we're doing. But ultimately, the goal here is to answer your traffic and police questions. So have you got any? Because I'd love to answer them. In the meantime, something that I like to talk about is the fact that things are changing all the time in the Highway Traffic Act. Things are changing, and if you're not paying attention to the news, you might miss it. And how many people actually watch the news or read the paper or actively pursue current events when it comes to changes in law? Not many, not so many. However, we're here for you. So as things change, I'll be posting updates. And that's something that I will absolutely be doing very shortly, talking about the upcoming change to the minimum reporting amount for collisions. So right now, if you're involved in a collision and the total damage is over $2,000, all parties, amongst all parties or all vehicles, then you have to report. Well, that's like a scratch on both cars is over $2,000. So they're raising it in January to $5,000, which may make more vehicle collisions unreportable, or not unreportable, non-reportable. You don't have to report. but you're obligated by law otherwise. Now, if you're talking about, in a second, if you're talking about collisions that involve more than one, involve pedestrians, if you have property damage to that's outside of the involved vehicle, so private property or government property, you still need to go and report those. In fact, police generally tend to complete the collision reports. If someone's transported by ambulance, if there's any criminality like impaired driving or no insurance, well, actually no insurance isn't technically criminal, but it's a violation. Those things, people or police come and attend on scene. So let's see, we got a bunch of stuff, even though the link is not, the automated stuff and things from TikTok don't seem to be working today. It is what it is. We rely on a third party to do it, and it doesn't always work out well. The days of me having a producer doesn't work right now because there's nobody in my basement but me. Sapphirus says, love your content. Thank you very much. The Tom John says, former ? Yes, August 30th. It was my last day. I left policing for family reasons and now doing consulting and other things privately as opposed to working for the police service. But this is something I'm doing because I want to. All right. What is this? Jay Melly says, what is... Hang on a second. Scrolling back. What is some useful experience to get before applying to a service? So this is in terms of becoming a member of the Toronto Police or any police service. Learning how to talk to people, being confident, knowing who you are. If you're still trying to figure out where you fit in the world, if you're not someone who's comfortable in their own skin, jumping into a uniform and patrolling the streets may not be for you. But if you are someone who loves to serve and is willing to give up a lot of personal time and energy into that, because this is not a job. You don't clock in and clock out. You're a police officer 24/7 from the day that you join till the day that you retire or resign. And that's it. You have responsibilities. You have things that people are going to hold you accountable. This beard that is way too long is the longest it's been in 25 years. Why? Because I don't have to follow uniform guidelines. So people, if you want to have, some funky stuff going on with your fashion, that's something you may not be able to do as a police officer. Like, there's so many things to think about. But in terms of, preparing yourself is know who you are, focus on your own education and volunteerism, be confident, and then research to make sure this is what you want. Maybe volunteer with the police service. Figure out if this is really for you. In useful experience, the volunteer experience is huge. Yeah. Contribute to the community that you want to protect. I think that's a good way to go. Sapphira says, realistically, how much over the speed limit will cops not bother pulling a car over on the QEW? 10? That's the question. 10? And that is really something I can't give you an answer for, because it depends on the officer. It may be that one officer says 10 is enough to pull you over. It's unlikely, but you never know. Some may say 20. Some may say 25. It's going to be the individual officer who makes the decision as to what they're going to get involved with. When everybody's doing 10 to 20 over, I think it's unlikely that 10 to 20 is the trigger. If you're the only car on the road, for sure. If you're, if everyone's doing 10 or 20 over and the flow of traffic is that, they're probably going to look for the person who's driving recklessly in between them and going faster. I mean, on these highways, I'm seeing people doing 130 all day long. They're just passing me like I'm not even moving. So that's what I would target if I was a police officer still. And it's likely what others. So 10, I don't think you're going to see problems, but you're still breaking the law, and even 1 kilometer over is illegal. So your mileage may vary. I wouldn't, if you don't want a ticket, if you really want to make sure you don't get into any problems, don't speed at all. But you're probably okay at 10 over. Why are you a former cop? LOL. That's from Aharon 10. Well, ultimately, choices like changing career are very personal. Mine involves family situation where I need to be at home more because of my family. It's not that I don't love policing, and didn't mean that policing didn't love me. I could have kept going for another 10 years if it wasn't for the fact that I have things that are more important than work. So I've changed my lifestyle to accommodate those things. Michael says, Sean is my law source. Well, thank you very much. Let's see here. TDL95 says, how many years of service for retirement? So I joined the service in 2000. To be Uh, to be a retired person generally is 25 years, and I'm just shy of that. Let's see. Scrolling back. When did you leave the OPP? I never left the OPP because I never was a member of the OPP. I was with Toronto Police. Uh, I joined as an auxiliary officer, then become a court officer, then became a police constable. In fact, I was an auxiliary sergeant and a supervisor within court services before becoming a police officer. Let's see here. Tito says, I'm at 11 on a railway. I want to do 30, but I started too young. Really? You can still do 30. Why can't you do 30? So, rail police, I have a couple of friends who were rail police and then went to local police. Stephen Bell, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Um, they're all good things. But if you want to, but why can't you do 30? Nothing wrong with that. I started too old. Yeah. Let's see here. Jason says, good morning. Just wanted to say thank you for what you did and do now. It takes a very special person to put on that badge. Well, thank you very much. It does, policing is not for everyone. And it's certainly something that I absolutely love doing. And I would continue doing if it wasn't for other responsibilities. But I'm also doing things now that I think are still helping people in a positive way. So it's not that I'm unhappy. It's just that I didn't envision myself making that change. Okay. PS Cap says, or is it Peace Cap? I don't know what your username is or means, but I'm doing my best to pronounce it. Okay. At a right turn only lane that says buses accepted, does that include school buses and small private buses? Well, I think if you classify as a bus, I think you're okay because it doesn't say city bus. It doesn't have specifics there. So I would imagine that you're okay. I'm not aware. I've never enforced any of those signs, but I think you should be good. Now, let's see here. Buses and small private. Yeah, I think if you classify as a bus, I think you should be okay, but I could be wrong. I've just never looked into that one. So apologies for not having a tied up answer for you on that. Okay, does it look like everything's working now? Okay, let me see if I can. Tito says, so it wasn't retirement. Wife wanted him at home. It's more complicated than that. Oddly, as an adult, there's often times when people's health and wellness require more assistance, whether it be a family member, extended or immediate. At the end of the day, there's things that often require a change, and someone who is capable of making the sacrifice to change their life to accommodate is what you do. You do the right thing for the right people. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, that was Tito there. What is this? So talking about at what speed people are going to pull you over. So I've just found OPP won't bother if traffic is going 130 left. It's gross. But here's the thing. It's not that they won't. It's that if everyone is speeding and there's one cop, they pull one car over. Will they do nothing? Maybe they're waiting for an opportunity or something to trigger them. Or maybe they're waiting for the guy doing 140. I don't know. The truth is we need more police officers, and I think we need automated enforcement on every road. We need speed cameras everywhere because people are just taking advantage of the fact that there's not enough police officers to do the kind of enforcement we need to change driver behavior. Okay. Question, how do cops check in and out, and do they get paid weekly or bi-weekly? Thank you. So that's from Farbo. And so checking in, checking out, there's two different ways of doing it. There's something called TRIMS, at least with the Toronto Police. It's a time resource management system. And you log in with your badge on your phone or in person on a computer, and you check in for when you start and you check out when you leave. But supervisors can check in for people. That's not, depending on how your unit is managed, it's done differently. And I don't know how other police services do it. In terms of being paid, you get paid every 2 weeks. But you get a salary, but you're paid hourly. Do you know what I mean? So if you worked more hours, then you would be eligible for more pay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Can you explain what happens during a wellness check? From Miranda. So the deal is that a wellness check, when someone calls and has concerns about someone's well-being, You haven't heard from Uncle Bob in a week and you're a little worried, but Uncle Bob's not someone that's in driving distance. You can, they often call police and say, I'm a little worried about Uncle Bob. Doesn't answer the phone. He's an elderly person. Could you go check on him? And the police will do a door knock. And, there may be a situation where no one responds or there's something weird. They may be concerns that the person has passed away. Like very often we've located people who had passed away, especially dealing with elderly persons. So sometimes it's a different kind of wellness check. Someone who's got some history of mental health issues. Like sometimes it's someone who's needs help but doesn't know how to call for it. Let's see here. Okay, best college to be a cop. Well, if you're in Ontario, the best college to be a cop is the Ontario Police College. I'm kidding. The truth is you should get an education in whatever area you're interested in. If that's accounting, great, because we need people in financial crimes investigations. You bring something unique to the party if you have a unique skill. If everybody goes to the same police foundations program, you're going to have the same skills, and many times you're being retrained because the police are going to train you in policing. They don't want to have to retrain you from what other people suggested. And they may be great suggestions. I'm not saying that the programs are useless. It's just that why train in an area you're going to train again in? The police are going to train you. I would say get something else, whether it's basket weaving or architecture, whatever it is. You have something to fall back on if policing's not for you. If you double down and get an education in policing, but you find out 2 weeks into being a police officer, it didn't feel as good as you thought it was going to feel, then where are you? You got no skills outside of policing. Let's see here. All right. Why is nothing done about the people that use the exit lanes on the 400 lane to jump in the 401 line? Partially because it's a nightmare, Canadian nightmare. It's a nightmare to police because it's constant and forever. Nobody respects those lines, which is annoying for one. But they need to start tagging people for careless driving, for obstructing traffic. But it's about, really, I think it's just about the lack of person power. I was going to say manpower, and that was going to be all yelled at for saying man. Anyway, I'm joking. I think it's about resources. There's not enough police officers to focus on a ramp. You'd be there all day and all night, right? So if you were in the area and you saw it, I would totally pull someone over, whether I was a Toronto police officer or an OPP officer on the 400 series highways. You see something like that, it's extremely dangerous. It's a thing. Hey, if you're watching, you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And if you have questions, I generally have answers. At 10:35, which is in 7 or 8 minutes, we're going to be joined by Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010, and we're going to talk to his live audience, and he's going to take calls and texts from his radio listeners, and we'll talk about those on the air. I need a sip of tea. Hopefully this has cooled down a bit because this is a Yeti that CAA gave me, and it is keeping stuff hot. It's hot. Too hot. That was too hot. Water. That was way too hot. Holy moly. Holy smokes, that's hot. When something is too good, I'm taking this right out. See? Can you see how much steam is coming off this? I don't know if you can. Yeah, it's not working real well. Apparently, live streaming steam is not a thing. Okay. That really hurt. All right. Where can I look up what's allowed to be modified or added to your vehicle? There's no list of what you can, like they can't say, can I put a spoiler on? Check. There's no list of stuff that is. What you can do is Google the light truck and passenger vehicle inspection guide. That would be my suggestion. You look that up, and what it'll tell you is all the things that they check to certify a vehicle to ensure it's safe. If you mess with any of that stuff, you are looking at, well, not being certifiable, not being safe. You modify it, it's no longer considered safe for the road. If you violate any of those things. So that would be my suggestion for you. But here's the thing. If you're talking about modifying your muffler, if you're changing it from what was stock on the vehicle, you are likely putting an illegal system in, something that doesn't meet the requirements. If you're talking about tires that protrude from the bottom, thank you for reminding me in a roundabout way. Last week, it wasn't Monday. I don't think it was Monday, but someone popped on the live and said they work for the MTO and that tires that protrude from the body of the vehicle are legal up to 1 inch. No, they're not. So they challenged me. They said I was wrong. I said, hey, show me, reach out, show me where it's where that says that. But I took for granted that they might be right because they claim to be MTO. They may be MTO, and they may have a policy that says they don't do enforcement up until 1 inch. However, it is not legal to have a vehicle with tires that protrude beyond the body, the fender flare, and mud flaps. They need to have them. They need to be covered because obviously if it protrudes, it doesn't get protected by the vehicle. So they were speaking out of turn. I actually had breakfast with a buddy of mine who is a police officer and a former MTO officer, and we had a good discussion about it because we didn't have that just because of that comment, but it just worked out. We had the conversation, and then we looked forward it just to see if we were both wrong. We weren't. All right. But my big thing is if you got information that says I'm wrong, bring it. I love it. I want someone to do the research and prove me wrong so I can update it. Yes, I like it. It hasn't happened. I don't think it's really happened. Although people who claimed that I was wrong and then turned out not to be wrong. But anyway. So yeah, back to your Brian question. Your vehicle is being manufactured after gazillions of dollars of R&D have gone into it to make it perfect just the way it is. And as soon as you start messing with it, it's probably violating something. But definitely that guide that I mentioned. I think I got links to it at trafficcop.ca. Okay. Cree316 says, what are your thoughts about traffic that are being impeded? About traffic that's being impeding the flow? Depends on what we're talking about. Are you talking about people who are driving the speed limit? Because there's people who choose to speed, and then all those do-gooders who do the speed limit are impeding their flow. Well, I think that's a problem for the person who wants to speed, not a problem for the people who are being lawful. So it depends on the context of your question. I don't know where you're going with this. I don't think that people should be able to protest on roads. I think that that's disgusting. That someone who is taking a hissy fit with things that are going, things of the environment or things are going, thousands of miles away should make people in Canada not be able to get to work on time or not be able to pick up their kids on time because someone wants to march and wave a flag. I think there's great ways to do it. Go do it in a park, in a field, somewhere that doesn't mess with the rest of the world. And I get it. They're doing it to mess with the world, to get attention. I think all it does is bring negative attention. So it really depends on what the context is of what you're discussing. Eric Burrow says, why can you only have studied tires in one part of studded tires? You put studied. Why can you only have studded tires in one part of Ontario and not the other? So here's the deal, Eric. Studded tires, although they do provide extra traction in thick pack and ice, it's not appropriate for Southern Ontario. It doesn't actually improve your stopping distance, but what it does do for certain is it creates a situation where you damage the roadway. Hang on a sec. We're joined by our friends from News Talk 1010. We're doing a quick check, and I'll come back to your questions. Hey there, can you hear me? Why does it sound like you can't? Hang on a second.
Hello.
Oh, we do hear you. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I have no complaints. Apparently, I hear you and you hear me. That's a good thing.
Perfect. We're coming back in a few minutes.
Cool. If you can have us so we don't hear any feed of commercials, and then just start talking when you're here, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thank you.
No worries. If everyone heard in the audience can hear that, okay. That was radio control from News Talk 1010. We'll be joined shortly. And in the meantime, we'll keep yapping about other things until they come in. All right. So if you are registered in Northern Ontario, you can have studded tires. You can travel down to Southern Ontario because you're just temporarily visiting, and it's understandable. But you're not going to impact in a tremendous way the road surface. But if everyone had studded tires, we would shred the roads here. And people argue it doesn't ruin the roads, and I think they're wrong. Studies have suggested they're wrong. But it also doesn't benefit people. It can actually increase your stopping distance in certain conditions like dry or just rainy weather. Studs aren't ideal for that. You're reducing the amount of contact with rubber to the road. So hopefully that answers your question. I did put up a video recently, and it's talking about the fact that if you're coming in from out of province and you're legally using studded tires there, you can enter the province for 30 days. But then you got to change the tires or get out. Okay. Greg says, what can we do about all the people that use HOV lanes when there's only one person in the car? Well, that's assuming that you don't have a baby in the backseat. You didn't realize, because babies qualify. In terms of what can we do about it, police need to do their job and do more enforcement. There's nothing for you to do about it. It's annoying. What I'm more concerned about are the idiots who use it as a passing.
Listen anytime, anywhere to News Talk 1010 Toronto through your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Jerry Agar continues.
Sean Shapiro started appearing on the show when he was doing a regular TikTok traffic information show for the Toronto Police Services. He has retired as a police officer and is now doing other work in this area, and I've chosen to keep going with him on these visits from time to time. Sean Shapiro, the TikTok former cop. Good morning.
Good morning, Jerry.
Somebody sent this in as soon as I said you were going to be on here. Can the average person access the information the police get when they run your plates?
No. The information that comes back is things like registered owner, when the plate expires, the address of the registered owner. That sort of stuff isn't publicly available. There were some loopholes a number of years ago with the kiosks in malls where people were getting information like that. When they put in a license plate and said they were going to renew it, but that got closed and they got rid of those renewal booths. But yeah, that information is not available. And then the really sensitive stuff comes in, and that's really just police data.
Okay, but the thing is, if you're running my plates, Sean, I don't need to access that. I know what my information is. You're finding my information, but I know if my plates are current or what my record is.
Well, so if they're asking where they can get the information is, if someone's involved in a collision, for instance, and that plate was captured as information, when they're reporting that to the police, then the police would do the checks, but they wouldn't have the ability of getting it.
You can't get it on someone else. But
no.
Yeah. All right. Here is Greg. What's your question for Sean?
It's regarding the virtual insurance information on your phone. I was just wondering, do you have to give your whole phone to the officer? Because usually when they go, if you're getting a ticket, they go back to their cruiser and do whatever they do. Do you have to give them your whole phone?
So you've got to be able to surrender that information, and whether it be handing it to them so they can. First of all, we don't want your phone. So nobody wants to hold your phone and be responsible for it. So you can either give it to them for the purpose of them copying the information down, but there should be a feature of the app to send that information. So whether that to be to an email address provided by the police officer, there should be a way of sending it. I haven't personally explored it, but that's my understanding. You have to be able to give it for the purposes of surrendering it to a police officer for reasonable inspection.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. If you have a question for Sean, it's 416-872-1010, 416-872-1010 for calls and texts. And you can call toll-free at 877-518-5151. Mike, who's running the board here, he has a question. I'll pass it along. Can a driver be charged for going 100 kilometers per hour in the left lane on the 400 series highways?
They can be. Slower moving traffic must stay to the right. Now, even though the maximum speed limit is 100 or 110 in some areas, you should be staying actively to the right because there's people like emergency vehicles that have a lawful reason to go faster. And for the people who are breaking the law, if you don't allow them to use that left lane, they're going to do some really dumb stuff and put lives at risk by passing on the right and cutting through traffic. So in the interests of people doing the right thing, they should stay to the right unless they're actively passing. That's not to say that speeding is condoned. You let the speeders do their thing in the left lane, and police can pick them off and hold them accountable when they catch them.
All right. I want to emphasize something on this, and I don't think it can be emphasized enough. And that is, if the speed limit is 90 and you're in the left lane and going along at 90 and thinking, well, how do those people blinking their lights at me and I'm going the speed limit? No, get out of the way.
Well, what happens when you decide that you're going to be the throttle control for everybody on the road is you create road rage situations. Everyone's responsible for their own choices. If they get a ticket or they don't get a ticket, they're the ones putting their lives at risk, and they're certainly impacting everybody else. And speed kills. We know that it changes the way that collision injuries and damage result. We know that that people are doing the wrong thing when they speed, but you can't be the police. That's our job, or their job now, and you have to leave it up to them. Stay to the right. I'm in the left or the right lane all the time, unless I'm actively passing, and I get passed like I'm not even moving. People don't even like me doing the speed limit in the right lane.
Yeah.
That's their problem.
Here is Mac. What's your question?
Yeah, about a school bus. If I'm traveling west, school bus is coming east, I'm on a divided residential 4-lane road, do I have to stop?
Now you say divided. Divided by what?
It's divided by a median.
If it's got a median, if it's truly a divided where it's all lanes are one way in one direction and all lanes are the other way, and there's no way for traffic to travel from one side to the other, then you would not need to stop for that school bus because it's a divided highway. But
pardon me, if there is access, like there's openings in the median in certain spots.
you look at the 401 as a true example of a divided highway. If you're talking about Yonge Street, that has occasionally some what do you call it, areas where there's a grassy knoll dividing. That's questionable as to whether or not you classify that as truly divided. It's generally speaking where the road is truly divided. You can't hurt to give extra caution. We're talking about kids who are going to be crossing and possibly crossing directly across. You look at University, that would be a divided highway, in my opinion, because that's completely impossible for a vehicle to drive through the parkette in the middle.
All right. Thanks very much, Mac. Here's a question. What is the proper procedure if you're pulled over by police? Where to stop your car? What do I do with my hands? Do I say sir and ma'am?
Well, polite is always a bonus. The better you treat them, the better they're going to treat you. It's not that they'll mistreat you if you're not polite, but certainly more bees with, what do they say? Get more bees with honey? That doesn't make much sense. But anyway, the thing is, when the lights and sirens go on, you're responsible to pull over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway. It's not about picking your favorite parking spot. It's not about finding a place that you feel most comfortable or that you feel is safe. The police officer is expecting you to immediately respond. And you can raise discussions about safety afterwards, and possibly the officer will have you relocate. But there could be reasons where immediate stopping is required. If you don't stop, you're looking at a ticket that is quite hefty. I believe it's $490.
Here is Sandro. What's your question?
I just wanted to know what the rules are for a crossing guard. So when a crossing guard is actually performing his duties, what are the cars supposed to do that are entering into that intersection?
So if you're in a crosswalk that has a crossing guard present with their stop stick, they're the boss. No one can cross that intersection, regardless of whether or not pedestrians are on your half or not, if there is a crossing guard present. So, everyone's crossing. You have to wait until all persons are off the road.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm a crossing guard, and nobody follows those rules.
I am well aware, and we should have more enforcement supporting you. Thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Take care.
Thanks, Sandro. I think saying nobody follows it is a little extreme. Somebody writes, if you're in an accident, what's the best way to exchange driver/insurance info since police don't respond to most accidents? Taking a photo of each other's driver's license and insurance could lead to identity theft.
Well, it's actually suggested on the Toronto Police website that you do use a camera on your phone to collect that information, because it's going to be the most accurate way of taking quick notes. Now, whether someone photocopies it, takes a picture, takes a note, you could cover the picture if you wanted to prevent your face from being captured. But getting that raw information exchanged accurately is the most important thing, and getting a telephone number in addition to that. So while I understand the concerns about identity theft, you're giving your name, and information that is important, you're actually required to exchange the information that is on your driver's license and your insurance.
All right, here is George. Go ahead, George.
Hello. I have a question regarding the new automated control devices like the speed cameras and red light cameras.
Mm-hmm.
In case of a policeman controlling the traffic, there is some tolerance that he applied to the numbers. I would like to know if there are some implemented in these. For example, if you have a 50 kilometers an hour zone, when the speed is declared violation, like 50.1, 55.
So they don't tell me the details, or never told me the details, because it's plausible deniability. I can't tell you because I don't know. But the truth is, it's generally a percentage, somewhere in the vicinity of 10%. You shouldn't be going over the speed limit at all. So whether it's 1 kilometer or 10 kilometers over, you're in the wrong.
Correct, but it's very hard to have a very precise speed when you drive.
It shouldn't be hard. There's either something wrong with your gas pedal or your foot. So you can go below the speed limit. The speed limit is truly the limit. It doesn't mean that you can't do 10 or 5 kilometers below the limit, and then you're certainly not going to get a ticket. But I don't have any difficulty maintaining 40 kilometers an hour in a 40 zone. It shouldn't be difficult for anybody.
Well, there's probably somewhat of a tolerance in terms of it isn't necessarily true that your speedometer is like within 0.1 of a kilometer or
Well,
something
actually, your speedometer over reports. In other words, when you're doing 40, you're really doing 39 or 38,
Oh.
depending on where you are. And it's accurate, very accurate or more accurate at certain speeds, like it's 60 or 70.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you're going slower than what's being reported by your speedometer. So you're actually in a good position. But
All right.
the one thing that they should know is that there's no points involved. Not that that makes it easier. It's still a big financial whack. But if you're getting hit by a camera, you're doing more than one or two over.
All right. Where do people find Sean Shapiro these days?
If you go to trafficcop.ca, you'll get links to all my social media. But VoiceOver Cop is the actual X.com, YouTube, and TikTok channel that I'm broadcasting on.
Sean Shapiro, thanks very much.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
This is the iHeartRadio Talk Network. It's 10:45.
Okay, and that was Jerry Egger. We still have 15 minutes and 51 seconds left, or it's just you and me. So let's get back into the questions. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I'm ignoring your questions for a bit, but it's always interesting, in my opinion, to get those live callers. I still love radio. I think it's a great medium. Thanks to the fine folks at News Talk who brought us in to chat. It's something cool about being on the radio. All right, let's talk about what do we got here? Sir Charles. Talk about the best thing to see when I open the app. I'm hoping that means me. And but thank you. Sir Charles says, you retired and I haven't seen TPS on my feed since. You know what? They're a busy group. I was in a unique position as a member of the Toronto Police Service, having been injured in a motorcycle collision on duty. I was someone who couldn't do other things. I couldn't go out on the road. So it's not like they could say, okay, we're busy out on the road today. Could you go help out and, forget about the show? I was someone who was, for lack of a better word, stuck inside. So that made me a great candidate for doing education online. The folks that are still there, they have other stuff and things that they got to do beyond that of what I was doing. I had other responsibilities, but I was able to really focus a lot of time on social media and education. So, yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to do this and fill that void. The Real VR says, good morning, Sean and everyone. Good morning, good morning. And we've got a number of people who said thank you, but I in the interest of saving time, I don't want to read everybody's up, but I want to acknowledge that I'm seeing those. Thin White Line Interceptor. Ryan wants to know, do you think snow tires should be mandatory in Ontario like it is in Quebec? Quebec has a tremendous, a wild difference in their winters and the amount of snow that they put on. I mean, I don't think Southern Ontario can appreciate what, where every road gets plowed and then they get a bobcat to clear those mountains of snow and take them by 18-wheeler dump truck out of the area because there's nowhere to put this. Like, it's just a next level. So I think it's great, and I think that it would be wonderful because I think everyone should have winter tires, but I recognize that making them mandatory is something that would hurt people only because that's a big financial outlay, even though it eventually becomes par for the course. Like if you drive 6 months on winters and 6 months on all seasons, well, then you're getting 2 sets of tires that get driven half as much, so they last twice as long. So you're getting the same value, but you've got more money tied up in tires. So I appreciate that people have difficulty, especially with what's been happening in our country in terms of cost of living, thanks to our illustrious leader. So, yeah, as much as I see the value in the tires, I don't want to destroy people's bank accounts when it's already tough. Let's see here. Oh, the Real VR thinks that protests should happen at Townsview Park. That would be a great place. Just all day long. They can hang out there. They can have different people, different areas for different topics. I think that's a great idea. Okay. How far can a radar gun detect a speeding vehicle? Radar guns really aren't used very much. Radar in particular is a method of measuring speed. Speed measurement tools now, other than moving radar, tend to be laser. And laser can get you quite a ways away. But if I can't see you, how do I know that you're who you look like? Like, I've got to be able to identify the vehicle. I would say 250 meters is easy. I used to get people at 250 all the time. 500 meters even could be measured. But to be able to accurately ensure that the vehicle that I'm measuring, like to truly describe it, I'm going to say probably 500 is the maximum that I would feel comfortable with. And that might even be on the outside. Closer is better. I'm generally not hunting that far away, right? Because You need to be able to see, make your own determination of speed, but it's certainly a ways away. 250 would be an easy way. And when people say that they're being targeted at that distance, we have no idea what people look like at that distance. So to suggest that it was anything other than the actual speed that caused people to be pulled over, I know that's not what you're asking, but very often I've had people suggest that I pulled them over because their car was green or blue, or that they were of a particular ethnicity, or they were male or female, like that I was targeting. No, I saw a car, it was going faster than everybody else. I measured it, and looking at that, machine confirmed that they were in fact speeding. Okay. AJ says, hi, Sean. I was asking about University Avenue northbound going left, westbound Richmond Street. Yes. Should they stop at the intersection or wait to go? No. So if you're coming from northbound and you're turning onto those roads, although you are now facing another set of lights, you do not stop in the middle of the intersection. You are making, you can stop to make sure it's safe to proceed, but you're not controlled by that traffic signal. That would not work. No. Nor would you at any other intersection that you're making a turn to. Could you imagine making a left turn on any street and then now facing another set of lights and stopping because of it? No, that's not how it works. Those are for east-westbound traffic, not for the people within the intersection. But I think it's a reasonable question because a lot of people get confused. That's a very, very big intersection. Let's see here. Dev says, road makeup has changed drastically. Studded tires won't damage newer roads. And yet the law says that they do, and everything that people in the comments have supported the fact that it destroys the roads. I can appreciate that things have changed and maybe it damages them less, but metal studs still damage roadways more so than not damaging them. Like use damages them, but damage with metal damages them more. But I do appreciate what you're saying. Things have changed over the years and it may damage them less. It still is less effective for stopping on dry and wet roads. Now, this tea is 45, almost 50 minutes or more. It's still too damn hot. I'm scared. I burnt myself so badly the first time. I'm scared to burn myself again. Like, I'm not using Yeti anymore for this. It's too hot for tea. For coffee, it's fine. For tea, it's too hot. Okay. Okay. I don't know what Wuji wants to know. Hey, I got a question, man. But they don't ask a question. What's a question? Okay. Okay. And thank you to Michael who says, then ask the question. Oh, he's got initials. What are laws on ATV like? Can you operate one without a license if you are plated and registered on trails? I am not an ATV person. I'm not an off-road specialist, so I don't want to give you bad information. But if you're on private property that you have permission to be on, you don't need a license. If you are on a trail, my understanding is you need to have a license, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's only for operating on the road. I am not the person to ask about off-road vehicles, only because I've really had limited exposure to them. All of my riding was back in the day on tracks, and it was all closed course private property. Okay. Yes, Toronto Road Camps referring to the machines that used to be for renewing your license plate. Yeah, it was wild. Like you would punch in anybody's license plate, and it would ask you to confirm your name and address before taking payment. Of course, if you punched in, the person that cut you off in the morning, you would have then received their name and address. It was horrible, but people were using it for obviously illegal things. The Real VR jumped in with an answer regarding the off-road vehicles. I appreciate you. G2 or higher, but I still don't know if that is going to be for what the context is they use, but I'm sure they figured it out amongst themselves. Unless on private property. Okay, there you go. And yes, Michael, feel free when you see the spam like that particular user, do what you got. You got those controls. You can mute them. You can block them. Michael is a moderator and has those moderator skills. I don't know if you've played around with the buttons, but you've got access to mute and ban. Okay. I drive slow because all my vehicles are gas hogs. Right lane for me only. I'll pull over to let people pass. Wow, you're a good man. I'm similar to you in that I don't want to, at these gas prices, spend a ridiculous amount of money just to go a little faster. But I also understand and appreciate the whole impact of speed. Can you use Tears Chine for a mobile scooter? Do you mean tire chains, Stephen? They're differently regulated. Like they're not really regulated for a mobility scooter. We're talking about something, but so I don't think you'd have a problem using that. I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't think it would be illegal per se. But then if you're using your mobile scooter and you're going into Best Buy, like we're talking about a mobility scooter, right? Like something you drive around because you can't walk, not something that is not meant as a mobility scooter that's being called one. So I need to know more. But tire chains, I mean, if you kept them in a backpack and threw them on because you were stuck, but if you have the ability to throw tire chains on, you probably have more mobility going on. Like you probably shouldn't be going out in a mobility scooter if the weather is so bad, if you can avoid it. Anyway, I've never really evaluated this as a possibility. All right. Why don't they restrict the speed of vehicles when they are manufactured? This is a question that is raised on a regular basis. Why don't we just why don't we just prevent people from being able to go over 100 or 110? And I like the idea, quite honestly, about having geofence speed limits. Like when you're on the 401, a sensor in your vehicle says you're on the 401 and the speed, your GPS already does it. It knows what the speed limit is. So what if your vehicle was tied to that technology and couldn't actually go faster? How amazing would that be? For me, as someone who investigated collisions and have seen tremendous and horrific loss of life as a result of the way people drive, I think it'd be great. There'd be no traffic because speed causes traffic. Oh, people say they have to get somewhere faster, but by creating those caterpillar-like moves where people are accelerating and decelerating and the waves of impact that causes, it actually slows everybody down, but nobody wants to admit it. Going fast doesn't actually get you there faster. In a sustained, single run, doing 150 over 100 is going to be 1.5 times the speed, right? Or 50% faster. Yeah. And if you were able to do that without slowing down for an hour, you would shave that off your time. But that's not the reality of driving. The reality of driving is you're going up and down the speed limit constantly. And over the average urban drive, you're saving a minute. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the risk to public safety. But I think that there's ways of doing it, and technology will no doubt be there, especially with autonomous vehicles, that speeding will be a thing of the past. And yeah. But would anyone buy a Corvette if it only did 100 kilometers an hour? I mean, no, that's a race car. And it should be able to go faster on the track. Yeah, people got to flex. 4 minutes to go. What about people going on an on-ramp to the 401 and they're doing 40 kilometers an hour danger? Well, the speed limit is on the on-ramp is there so you can get up to speed. There's ramp caution signs that tell you what the maximum you should be going. Most ramp speeds are quite low, especially if there's turns involved. And then once you're in a straightaway to get on the highway, you're supposed to get up to the appropriate speed, which is up to the speed limit or the flow of traffic, not above it. Not supposed to go above it. Obviously, some people will have to if it's all going at light speed. Not that it's condoned, but it's just the reality of things. But that's it when you're in the straightaway. And then zipper merge. Use the whole on-ramp and merge lane. Don't cut in at the first inch. People cause so many problems when they do that. Hey, look at that. The real VR echoed exactly what I said. Okay. Lots of dialogue there. Thanks for having that conversation amongst yourselves. Do we have to get out of our vehicles if a police officer pulls us over but does not tell us why? So if a police officer directs you to exit the vehicle, yeah, like they're going to tell you why. You know, ask why. If it's involving searching a vehicle because they've seen something in plain sight and they want to get you separated from either a possible weapon or drugs, yeah, it's reasonable to have you step out of the vehicle. Could they arrest you or detain you? Yeah, they could. It all depends. I can't give you a blanket yes or no because it all depends on for what reason they're doing it. If they're want to test you for impaired operation or have you blow, it's mandatory alcohol screening in Canada. So if they want to have you blow into a box to demonstrate what your blood alcohol or to do a sobriety test, they could have you leave for that reason. So it depends. There's authorities that do justify it. Neha says, good morning to you too. And then we've got Veronica who says, Sean. And I say, Veronica. What do we got here? We got there's still a lot of going back and forth with the real VR and Big Block. What's this? Sir Charles says, this is the first time I'm hearing this story. They should hire people just for educational purposes. Oh, are we? Oh, yeah. So we're talking about the fact that I left if it's a police officer at the end of the day is deployable to make, for unit specific or police service needs. So in a situation where you hire somebody for educational purposes, but they're a police officer and there's a riot somewhere, well, the riot becomes a priority. They have to reevaluate and deploy people as needed. It's always going to be the case. And even people at the police college who train other police officers, if everything push come to shove happened, they would turn around and leave the police college and be deployed because maybe they'll leave them last, but they'll take them when they need them. Silly question. Would I get in trouble if I drive around the city because I'm bored and need sunlight? No, you're allowed to drive. The purpose of why you're driving, at least at this point. I mean, I believe that the Liberal government has talked about restricting your ability to travel along. They want to keep people. I don't know if that's part of a future plan or it's a conspiracy, but I remember reading about this online. What I have here is a feather. What is that? I thought it was a fly. Don't know what that was. Okay, sorry for yelling at me. Yeah, they want to restrict your ability to drive across country. Like there's all sorts of ridiculous things being floated around to save the universe and emissions and garbage. Anyway, moving along. We've got Ronald who says hello, and Rob who wants to know if my job can be dangerous. Paper cuts are a real possibility here. I see that things popped up. It means I'm out of time, but I'll try and scroll through looking for some serious questions before we do go. And just a reminder, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. Even though I'm retired and not getting paid for it, I'm doing it because I like to and I want to help you out. But can my job be dangerous? When I was a police officer, yes. Policing is a dangerous job. It is. You're seeing people at their best and worst, and sometimes when they're at their worst, they could be violent. And sometimes other people are at their worst because someone is trying to take advantage of them or hurt them. So yeah, when you're getting in the way of bad people or people in crisis, often with weapons. Yeah. So Michael had shut it out and said, when Sean was a PC, it could be it was. I was very fortunate to be a good communicator, and even in dangerous situations, very often talking was the solution. Okay. And scrolling through. Just want to see can you put Christmas lights and drive around? Technically speaking, Christmas lights on your vehicle would be illegal. If you had a string of, like, we just picked up some battery powered Christmas lights to do some decorations, and they're low power and they're not flashing, and those would be okay for illuminating the interior of your vehicle, although it could impact your visibility or your vision at night. So not really suggested, but not illegal per se. But putting it all over your car and having it blink in red and blue and green on all of those being restricted colors would be illegal, even though you may not get tickets for it. You may or may not. Okay. Oh, Neha says, anyone in the comments know if he still does evening shows? Been busy with work and I didn't notice. I want to try and do 2 days a week that are daytime shows and 2 days a week that are nighttime shows, or at very least one of each. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow night we'll do an evening one instead of a daytime one. We'll see how that goes. But I want to try and figure out a healthy balance. I'm really trying to determine, based on statistics, what is the best time? Is it daytime or nighttime? Is it 9, 10 a.m. or is it 6 or 7 p.m.? Let me know in the comments. I'll do a survey on a video, and maybe everyone can vote again. I try and do those somewhat regularly so I can get some level of understanding of where people are at. Okay. Scrolling down. We're going to wind it up. We're going to read some dad jokes. If you have any dad jokes that you want to throw into the mix, let me know. Put them up in the comments, and I'll try and add them to the list. And if you missed the show and you're just jumping in now, you know that you can get it. I'm going to download it and upload it into the magic of podcasting later, so you can actually follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And that's the thing. Okay. Ellie wants to know if I'm still a police officer. No, I retired from policing. Where did you get battery powered Christmas lights? I got them on Amazon. It was like $16 for 2 packs, and they're really, really delicate, like on tight, super thin wire, but they look great. And yes, adding a queue does help me identify questions. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to switch into the pinned questions or the dad joke stuff. Here we go. a.k.a. says, dad joke. What happens to winter fat? It becomes spring rolls. Wait, what button do I have here? That's not, okay, that one. Dad joke. My friend says a man in camouflage is really cool. I just didn't see it. I don't know. He's really cool. Or I just don't see it. Yeah, I guess so. It's pretty good. I guess so. They're camouflaged. I'm just breaking your. Okay. Quote from a.k.a. Work as though you would live forever and live though you would die today. Og Mandino. Work as though you would live forever and live as though you would die today. You know what? That's the work hard and live a full life concept, not waiting for tomorrow. I like that. That's actually pretty good. Dad Christmas joke. Oh, this is new. Usually it's a Star Wars Christmas joke that he provides, but dad Christmas jokes are good. What happened to the man who stole the Advent calendar? He got 25 days. I like that. That's it. That's all I got. So with that, I will say see you soon. I will announce on VoiceOver Cop on X when I go live next. In fact, if you follow along on YouTube, I do announce once scheduled the lives, and then you can sign up for notifications. You can even get notifications on TikTok, which is pretty awesome. But if you don't already follow me, please do. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer, and I'm here to help you. I'm not getting paid to do it. I'm just hanging out and having fun, talking about traffic, stuff that I care about and care about you too. So have a great day. Drive safe, drive sober, no drugs, no alcohol. Of course, Aaron Urquhart from Toronto Police Parking would be really upset if you parked illegally, except, then she'd ticket you. So there you go. Have a great day.